You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
I really want the Hurricane Nation, the U family, University of Miami, everyone that's ever touched it, been a part of it, went to school here, is a fan, the community around the country. We got to bring this thing tight. Everybody. We got to bring it in tight, and we got to bring it. Because when the U is on and the U brings it, there's nothing like it. And we got to get there. And it's going to take everybody. And I can't wait.
I can't wait either. 7:30, can't get here fast enough. Probably more like 7:45. Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Too late? Sorry, Jerry Seinfeld. How's everybody doing? Yes, I told you I'd try to do some shows from time to time. I got some time today. We're going to break it all down. College football playoff semis tonight. NFL playoff action. We got it all, baby. Yes, I am back. It is the Pete Sheppard Show. One day only this week. And, I'm going to try to do something like once a week. It all depends on my schedule for my other gig that I love that's going on outside the business. But right now, the hours are crazy from time to time. So anyway, just wanted to do a show today. Angel Martinez cannot be with us here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. Let me get the preamble crap out of the way. Not crap, but just so you know. We are available on Twitter, on X, right here, following me at pshep326, across our Facebook pages, on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Rumble, Kick, CSDN Florida, Odyssey, SR1029, The Game, Facebook pages as well. So thanks, everybody, for checking out the show. Great to be back. First show I've done since December 20th, and probably going to be like an hour. I'm not going to take any breaks today unless nature calls or something like that. But right now, I'm just glad to be back with all of you guys. Thanks for all the kind words, and hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I say that because my last show, I was just going over some old notes from the 20th. It was right before Miami beat Texas A&M. They, of course, went on to beat Ohio State. Those of you who saw my Facebook post, a couple of them at halftime, I sit here today, and this just in, not only do the Miami Hurricanes have a defense, they actually have an offense. Now, you wouldn't know it by the narrative on ESPN this week from every single talk show. The storyline of Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin going to LSU, and a great story, and it is a great story, with Pete Golding, the former defensive coordinator, taking over. It is a great story with Trinidad Chambliss coming over from Ferris State D2, where he won a national title last year, from which is where's Ferris State? In Grand Rapids, Michigan. For those of you who didn't know, Ferris State, usually a pretty good hockey team as well in college hockey. Great stories. And we'll get into all of it. And, I salute Mississippi for doing what they're doing and all that stuff. What I don't understand is for the last couple of weeks, we heard the narrative about how the Hurricanes, we're going to struggle with Texas A&M at College Station, Ohio State this, the fucking blubbering, crybaby, blathering idiots from Notre Dame and Ohio State, who are still going at it, by the way. I thought I set up your pity party last week at some locale. Somebody did. Just get over it, for God's sakes. The only team this year that's beaten Miami is Miami. They did it to themselves twice. Otherwise, they're two bad passes away from being undefeated. So this whole thing, like how, they were the last team again, blah, blah, blah. Then most of you people haven't been watching all year. And if you listen to ESPN this week and a lot of the shows, besides mentioning Carson Beck coming over from Georgia and being 15-3 against AP-ranked opponents and 35-3 lifetime. People don't want to acknowledge that he was on Georgia when they won the national championship because he wasn't the starter. All of that stuff. You wouldn't know Miami has an offense. Go look at what they've obliterated people this year. Now, of course, you're not going to obliterate Texas A&M. You're not going to obliterate Ohio State, but and I'm not saying they're going to obliterate Mississippi, but their offense is going to show up. Trust me. You're talking about Mississippi defense is probably better than most people think, but it ain't that good. It's not that good. It is nothing like Ohio State's or Texas A&M's. It's not even close. And that's why Fletcher, Pringle, and Brown and company going to run them off the field. They're going to get over. I'm telling you that the Hurricanes will combine for well over 150 yards rushing. I think it's going to be closer to several touchdowns in this football game. I'm already saying 30-17 Miami. I don't know why nobody wants to talk about the Miami Hurricanes offense this week. It's like they don't exist. It's great. We talk about Bain and Mesidor and Scott and all that and everybody on defense, and rightly so. But I don't understand the national media. How all of a sudden, Miami's offense is. Have you seen C.J. Daniels? Have you seen Marion? Have you seen their tight end, but Bauman? As well. Malachi Toney, who should still be in high school. I can't say that enough. The guy should still be in high school. Most amazing freshman in the country. And all of us at Fletcher, Pringle, and Brown. I don't understand why nobody is talking about the Hurricanes offense. Have you seen what they've done the last 7 since their loss to SMU? Have you seen what they have done? They've obliterated people. And again, you're not going to obliterate Ohio State. You're not going to obliterate Texas A&M. Mississippi defense is not even close to what those two are. They're 65th against the run. They're going to get, I'm telling you, they're going to get dominated on the line of scrimmage. And I know the other narrative out there, Trinidad Chambliss, blah, blah, blah. He runs around. He's Marshall Reed 2.0. Marshall Reed 2.0. He's a little bit better. Is it going to be better? Both were scrambling quarterbacks. You look at what the Miami defense has done against A&M and against Ohio State, and I am telling you that Chambliss is going to be. He'll make a couple of plays. There's no question about it. They have an excellent running back as well, and Lacey. Everybody knows that he's very, very good. But in the trenches, this game isn't even close. It's not even close. The only team that's going to beat Miami is Miami. And I don't see that happening because Carson Beck has been a totally different player, and they are healthy. My man Otis. Yes, my man. Love that polo, Pete. Yes, thank you. And Otis, is this the hat you gave me? You gave me, Otis gave me a couple of hats. He gave me a great Patriot hat. He's given me a Miami hat before. Another one. I think Otis, you gave me this one too. I can't remember. When I was back at ESPN. But I cannot believe this week. It's like the Miami offense doesn't exist. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And the defense speaks for itself. We all know that the defense, what they have done, what they are capable of, what they already have done. You look at the trenches. Ruben Bain, Akeem Mesidor, 12 sacks in the first 2 playoff games. They've recorded at least 4 sacks in 4 straight games. They've got 46 for the season. Their pressure rate is also at the best in the country at 40.5%. And Mississippi only allows 1.3 sacks per game. I guarantee you the Hurricanes have at least 4 sacks in this game. Guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. But the 1.3 sacks per game for Mississippi ranks them in the top 20 right there. The Bulldogs, by the way, had no sacks and only 3 tackles for the loss in the quarterfinals. That was Georgia. Mississippi is sacked on only 3.1% of pass plays, ranked 7th nationally. That's about to change. Georgia's defense is not Miami's. It's not even close. Not even close. By the way, the last time these two teams played was 1951. 1951, what's that, 75 years ago. It's the last time Mississippi and Miami played a football game against each other, which Miami won, I believe, 21-7, by the way. But unbelievable. So Ole Miss has never won a national title. We know that. And Miami going for the first one since it was stolen from us in 2002 by the referees against Ohio State. Yeah, yes. I could still bitch and moan about, but we made up for it. And I mean, I don't. It was a horrible call in that game. We all know that. Everybody knows it. But the crying, bitching, and moaning, and it's only, I'd say today, yes, maybe yesterday has stopped a little bit. You know, what's his name? Curry from Ohio State. If we played Miami 10 times, we beat him 9 out of 10. It was a fluke. I mean, these people are like Jerry Jones delusional. They can't get it out of their thick skulls. The Ohio State people and the Notre Dame people. You lost to a better team. Do you understand that? Miami is better than you, Ohio State. Better. I knew they were going to win. I knew they were going to, just like I know they're going to win this game. The only team that's going to beat Miami is Miami. And of the 3 defenses they played so far in the playoffs or about to play, this third one tonight, this one is by far the worst. By far. Ohio State's a terrific team. Texas A&M is a terrific team. Miami's better. They're better. All 3 phases of the game. All 3 phases of the game. And if people think, you know, Carson Beck has done a great job of being, quote unquote, a game manager. By the way, he's also run the ball extremely well, particularly against Ohio State, which I don't think they saw that coming because he's not known as a running and scrambling quarterback. But should the situation present itself, he will get the job done for the most part because in the trenches, Miami's just too tough. They're absolutely too tough. And that's why I think Fletcher, Pringle, and Brown are going to have a frickin' field day tonight, I should say. I wish it was today. I don't know. I got to meditate. I got so many things to get off my chest, and I'm so glad you're all with me. Angel's not here, so we can't take phone calls, but you can text in like Otis, and I'll read as many texts as I can. There's another game also tomorrow night at 7:30, the Peach Bowl, which is at Mercedes. By the way, tonight's game is in Glendale, Arizona, where the Cardinals play. I wish the game was outside. Miami's 0-4 at the Fiesta Bowl, including that terrific robbery back in 2001. But we digress. Angel Martinez is on his way to Daytona, I think, to race around a track or something like that. He's reposting it. Anyway, good morning, Angel. Hi, Debbie. Happy New Year to you both. So I think the protocol of saying Happy New Year, I think it fits today. It's only a week late. And what has happened since we last spoke on the 20th? So many things in and around football. I'm not going to get into the horrible situation in Minnesota. This show is an escape from all of that. Plenty of other outlets for that, the horrific situation out there. I'm not even going to remotely address it, but because I want to focus on the escape from real life, which is this show, which we try to do. I don't get political. It's all about sports and opinion, and try to put out, to give you information that the national media regarding the Miami Hurricanes will not give you. Otis, Ole Miss has to outscore their opponents. Yeah, this just in. If Miami outscores their opponent, they will win. If Mississippi outscores their opponent, they will win. You believe that's how it works? You believe that? And I think Miami will outscore Mississippi 30-17 tonight when it's all said and done. I think it'll be a close game for a while. But the Hurricanes, and the thing about the Hurricanes too, and look, it's no excuse for Oregon. For SMU and Louisville. Those were 2 bad passes from Carson Beck. Since the SMU game, he's been basically flawless, absolutely flawless. And whether you want to see, he obliterated all the teams down the stretch. He did a great job of game managing against A&M on the road, against Ohio State as well. It's been great to see him. He is poised. This team is well coached. We're going to hear from Mario Cristobal again in a second. To play as much sound as we can today. I'm only probably going to be on until 8 o'clock this morning, if that. But I wanted to get a whole bunch of stuff off my chest. Angel says, good morning, Pete. Yes, we are on our way to Daytona for the ARCA Menard Series testing. I don't know what that is. One hell of a game coming up today. Yes. So is there the ARCA Menard Series testing? It sounds serious. It sounds like the Professional Left Turn Association is going to have a big day this weekend. Yes. I also got a preview sound for every single playoff game. I'll have my predictions as well. By the way, Angels, Nick Sirianni, and we can have the debate last week. Should he have rested players? Should he not have rested players? Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Here's what I know about the Eagles coming up against San Fran. They're 5-0 at home in the playoffs under Nick Sirianni. Not a fan of how the 49ers played that game last week against Seattle. I don't know. I think the Eagles are going to win. Should be a hell of a game. Low-scoring games. We got my Patriots coming up on Sunday night. And here's the other. I get so much to get off my chest. Not to mention, outside of sports, Stranger Things finale, or season 5 finale, season 5, and then the finale, the 2 hour and 7 minute finale. If you want, and I'm going to give you, I'm warning you right now, there'll be a spoiler. And then the other day, when I had some time, I watched the second Wicked, or whatever it's called. More spoiler alerts coming in that one as well. What else? Oh, I saw the Bruce Springsteen movie. What's his name? Who does it? Forget his name. On top of that, was good. I wish there was more singing. Dancing. The Born to Run scene in the beginning. There's like only one real singing scene after that when he's in concert with the entire E Street Band. There's a couple when he does a couple little side gigs, but they spent, I think, about a half an hour, way too much on that movie about the making of Nebraska. We get it. It was trendy. A dark album. Those of you who haven't seen, way too much time. The acting was great in it. The acting was fine. Him singing was great. It was very good. I just think they could have cut out 15 minutes, half an hour. So all the stuff about Nebraska being dark and I mean, they wasted. It was like you got the premise, you get it after a few minutes. If you don't know, now I knew the history of the album before that. A lot of people didn't. He wrote a lot of Born in the USA stuff at the same time as Nebraska, and then the record label thought that Nebraska was dark. He didn't give a shit. That's one thing about Bruce I always loved. He didn't care. It was all about the music and him, and not so much about what the popular opinion was going to be. So yeah, 727-858-6650 if you want to text it. So I got that, the Stranger Things, all of that stuff. For Christmas, I geeked out. I got Peanut Gallery gave me the little, you've seen it on social media, the little stick that goes into the back of the TV with, depending on which one you got, 10 to 20,000 video games on it from every old school system, from Sega Genesis, even way before that, Atari 2600, PlayStation, every game you can possibly think of in English and Japanese are on some games I never even heard of that are on this thing. It's pretty fun. Kill an hour here, an hour there, different things. Anyway, getting back to all this, so I'm going to preview some from all the NFL playoff action coming up as well. But I just wanted to, I can't believe this week, getting back to Miami and Mississippi. Everybody's so focused on the storylines and everything else. How about the storyline of Mario Cristobal if they win this game and if he goes up against Oregon, his former team, if Oregon should beat Indiana, which I think is going to be one hell of a game. One hell of a game. Indiana went out there to Eugene and won, earlier this season, but that game was 20-20, very close, and Oregon just sort of fell apart. And I really like Cincinnati. And I love what Indiana has done, but I think both teams are obviously are better now than they were then. I think Oregon is going to put up a huge fight. I'm looking forward to it either way. My old pal Craig Sheeman, we still are pals, and we text occasionally. And that Craig is a huge IU fan. This is the one week I wish we were on together, or the one day I wish that we could be on together, because it would have been so much fun. Him being an Indiana grad and a huge IU fan, obviously me being a big, huge fan from a kid with the U, it would have been a lot of fun. And I look at it as a win-win situation for me either way, First of all, Miami take care of business tonight, which I think they will. And then if it's IU, Indiana, if IU wins, I think it's great because I will go into a text war with Craig. It'll be a riot. It'll be a riot. And if they don't, if Oregon should win, then it's Mario Cristobal against his former team and Dan Lanning and all that stuff. And I think that is a huge storyline as well. Plus, Miami gets to play at home at Miami Gardens. I saw this other thing, and I give the Hurricanes a lot of credit for traveling. By the way, Josh Prey has got an amazing take. The comedian down here from Immokalee and Naples in Southwest Florida. By the way, I'm in Fort Myers. More on that in a second. Spring training people, I got some news for you. Some of it ain't going to be so good. You're not going to like hearing it, but I figure I will be the public service announcement person down here because a lot of you are getting ready to make the trip. A lot of you already are down here for season, but some of you don't come down until late February, early March because of the Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. Be ready, for some delays, and I'll tell you why in a minute. What the hell was I? Lost my train of thought. Anyway, about Miami and Mario Cristobal. So, and facing Oregon. So I think that's going to be a hell of a game. 7:30 cannot get here fast. I'm trying to think. At some point, do I go into meditation? Do I go for a drive? Josh, is this live? Yes, I am back. Yes, I'm back for today, for one show only this week. I don't know what my schedule's going to be. I'm going to try to do at least one show a week. But again, my schedule is a little crazy right now, so and it's also about when guests are available and Angel's not available today, but I can do this by myself. I get lots of sound to play. But yes, Josh, this is live. I mean, this is like live. Yep, that's right. I'm back. So Miami and Mississippi again. Carson Beck, 36-5 in his career, 15-3 record against ranked opponents. First quarterback to win that many games over 3 years since 2012, 2014. That was Marcus Mariota. And Beck has completed 74.4% of his passes this season, but in the last two games, he's thrown for fewer than 150 yards for the first time in his career as a starter. Chambliss, by the way, has thrown for 300-plus yards in 8 games this season, including a career high in a win last week against Georgia. That will not be the case this week. The SEC, by the way, is 2-7 in bowl games, and the ACC is 8-4. Not that that means a lot. See, people don't want to go there, but they will go last year when the ACC was 2-11. So, Josh says, go Canes, yes. Go Hurricanes, live action, yes. So it all depends on what narrative the national media, and I point to ESPN a lot, not just them, Fox. There are other outlets out there, Fox included, with some other hosts and everything else, that act like I haven't heard one thing about Miami's offense this week, not one. And I'm telling you, if there's one quarterback that's going to throw for 300 yards this week, it's going to be Carson Beck. It will not be Chambliss. If it's Chambliss, it's because it's garbage time. And the net yardage at the end, he may get a 25-yard completion here, a 30-yard completion there if the game is out of hand and Miami's in prevent defense mode, up by a couple of scores. I just don't. The national media has this. I don't know if it's a hatred for Miami, but they just want to focus on other things. You hear the morning show, unsportsmanlike, the last couple of weeks, and you can just tell. The only thing they can go by is stats that are handed to them by the producer. They haven't watched these teams. They haven't watched them. The bullshit, the stuff that led up to the Ohio State game was offensive. Wasn't it? It was offensive. It's like, I mean, who the hell do you think you're talking about? And all they want to do is bring up SMU and Louisville, something that seems like it happened a decade ago. And Greg McElroy, I think, is the only one besides myself that brought it up. The only team this year that beat Miami was Miami. SMU didn't do anything to beat Miami. Carson Beck threw an interception in the end zone. At the end, it was stupid. And before that, against Louisville, they were driving for the game-winning score, for the winning field goal. It was going to happen, or at least the game-tying field goal, and maybe the game-winning score. He threw a horrible interception. Since then, since the SMU game, he has been basically flawless. What's he got, 14 touchdown passes and one meaningless interception in the Pittsburgh game? But nobody wants to talk about it. I don't understand. You tell me who on Ole Miss is going to stop the receiving core of Malachi Tony, who will throw, he will run, and he will catch. Who's going to stop C.J. Daniels? Who's going to stop Marion? Who's going to stop Bauman at tight end? And who in the hell on Mississippi's defensive line going up against Miami's offensive line, and they're going to stop Fletcher and Pringle and Brown? Oh, my. They're not. Ain't going to happen. Not going to happen. Unless Miami shoots themselves in the foot. The Malachi Tony had a couple of buddies, say he's got to hang on to the ball. I agree. Got a tad lucky in the Ohio State game, the fumble that he had bounced right back into his hand. But, hey, other teams that's happened to them before as well. What he did in the A&M game after the fumble, and Fletcher went over to him. They were teammates, by the way, in high school. I thought was one of the great. And you knew that I thought Malachi Tony after that. I'm like, you know what, man, just stop him, get him back in there. It's like getting beamed in the head in baseball. And hopefully you don't get severely hurt or hit in baseball in Little League. Just the first time it really hurts. You're pissed. You cry maybe a little bit. Well, there's no crying in baseball. But you get back up, get right back in the box. And that's what he did. And that little shovel pass that Beck gave him for that touchdown against was amazing. So, look, they've already handled a Chambliss type of quarterback, can run, can throw, and all that stuff. I think Chambliss is a better passer, per se, than Marcel Reed was. But all you heard about Marcel Reed, Chambliss is going to go down at least 4 times tonight. They will get to him at least 4 times. There's nobody in Mississippi that's going to be able to block this line completely. Now, Mario Cristobal is going to have to sub some players in at times because the thing about Miami, they get so much pressure with just 4. They don't need to do all these creative blitzes and everything else. They're like the only team in the country that can get constant pressure by rushing 4, which means in the backfield, the safeties and everybody else back there for the Hurricanes, and they're healthy. Remember, this team was not, look, they still should have beat SMU. They still should have beat Louisville. But this team, for the first time, or in the Ohio State game, but they're even more healthy now. And Holly Rowe was down at Miami practice yesterday. She's been excellent. She's had a great report. And everybody is healthy for the Hurricanes. Thomas and Poyser at safety. I mean, my God, Scott, they're all ready to go. They're all ready to go. I think Mississippi is in for it. And kudos to them for overcoming the Lane Kiffin situation, which is really so fucking. It's just. I don't know if you agree with Finey or not. Finey is convinced Lane Kiffin left this program for Mississippi, not just for the money, but because he didn't feel like this team could win the national championship. So obviously, Mississippi's got a big chip on their shoulder. They're on a great run here. Pete Golding is doing a great job, the former defensive coordinator. But it's a great story. Miami's a great story. Both have chips on their shoulders. Miami comes in as the 10th seed. How many times are you going to have to hear, they were the last team in, Nobody just wants to go back to reality, to the SMU Louisville game. Just look. I'm trying to think if those 2 passes were never made and Miami had won both of those games as they should have, and they went into this season, and they went into the college football playoff, undefeated. I'm trying to think what the hatred would be, but because of 2 bad passes, people wanted to put the whole season on that and not what they did after the SMU loss and what they have done since, which has been dominant on both sides of the ball. Dominant. You think Mississippi is any way, shape, or form going to light this team up? No way. Ain't going to happen. This is not back. This is not Georgia. Sure as hell ain't Tulane. We know that. Look at Alabama, how they got obliterated by Indiana. Look at that. I mean, I've said it all year long. The SEC gap, it's not there. This SEC dominant. If people don't think that SMU and Louisville could go into the SEC and win a bunch of those games, you're crazy. The window and against the Big Ten. Did you see Ohio State's schedule this year? Who they played? And people didn't want to hear that either. They didn't want to hear that about it. It wasn't, besides Texas in the beginning, who would they beat? Michigan? A mediocre Michigan team at best? Good for them. But the crying and bitching and moaning, I was never one to hate on Ohio State or Michigan, blah, blah, blah. The Ohio State fans, and there's a shitload of them down here in Southwest Florida, let me tell you. Seems sometimes this ends up being like Columbus South. And that's fine. I love the passion and everything else. But the torrential flood of illogic, and it's just like, everybody sucks except Ohio State. You suck. Well, why would Miami suck? Oh, and you know what the first thing they say? Because their little feeble fucking little minds can't come up with anything better. First thing they say is, well, you shouldn't have lost to SMU and Louisville. Oh, you got me. Yeah, you're right. You should. So what does that mean? Notre Dame shouldn't have lost to Northern Illinois either a couple of years ago. Ohio State shouldn't have lost to Michigan 5 straight years when Harbaugh was there. I mean, if, buts, when, maybe. I mean, my God. Ohio State maybe should have scheduled better people. Texas is so overrated from the get-go. I told everybody that was going to be the case. Nice win against, but that's all the Ohio State people could come up with. I kept trying to tell them, a couple of people that could have a logical conversation about college football with. I was like, what do you think Ohio State's going to do? What makes you think that saying is going to light them up for some reason? I never understood that. I never understood it. And Ohio State's biggest weakness was their offensive line. Everybody knew it. And Miami took advantage of it. They could have rushed 3 and sacked them. They've had 12 sacks in 2 games, the defensive line from Miami. So then on the whole, they don't need to do a lot of creative defensive disguises. They just rush 4. Anyway, I don't understand the Ohio State mentality of all they come up with is you suck. Or if we played you 10 times, we'd beat you 9. No, you wouldn't. You might win a couple. But I think Miami's winning the majority of them because Miami's a better team. Yeah, it's not that difficult. It's happened before. It'll happen again. Ohio State, you are not the be-all, end-all of college football. I hate their fucking fan base now almost as much as Notre Dame on the whole. It's become that obnoxious because they refuse to give anybody credit. It's always Ohio State couldn't do this. Ohio State couldn't do that. It's never give credit to the other team. Not all of you, but a lot of you. Get over yourselves, for God's sakes. You have an excellent football team. You got beat by a better one. End of story. Your pity party with Notre Dame people continues wherever you are. All right, I'm going to play some sound here a little bit from Mario Cristobal. It was a press conference yesterday. We got a lot of NFL sound to do. Like I said, I'm not taking any break today. It's great to be back. It is great to be here. So far. It is great. Thanks for everybody for checking us out across our awesome video platform on X, following me at pshep326, on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Kick, Rumble, CSDN Florida, Odyssey, SR1029 The Game, and Facebook page. Robbie says, morning, Pete. Hope all is well. Robbie, how are you? Boy, your boy Dusty May out in Michigan, that's the best team in the country. And by the way, last night, what a great game between Providence and UConn. Providence blew an 11-point lead with 3 minutes to go. UConn ranked number 4. But old coach at FAU, and Robbie does a great job reporting for FAU athletics. Dusty May is doing an unbelievable job in Michigan. I think they're the best team in the country, despite the 2-point win. And this is the other thing, people, sportsmen, because Michigan is won by like 80,000 points every single game. So they play a conference game on the road at Penn State. They win by 2, and all of a sudden people are like, "What's wrong with Michigan?" I'll tell you, why is it that why can't you just win a game? Why is everything have to be decided about the sexiness of wins? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, Robbie said, was about to say, tough one for Providence. That place was rocking. Yeah, well, whatever they call it. I still call it the Providence Civic Center or the Dunk back in the day. Yeah, I mean, they get 13,000 fans mostly every home game anyway, particularly for every Big East. They sell out, standing room only, all that stuff. It was a great game. Great crowd. I thought Danny Hurley was going to have a conniption and spontaneously combust in the first half of that game last night, yelling at everybody and everything. But just it was a hell of a game. But I look at my Final Four. I know it's very, very early, barring any injuries. I'm not picking Arizona. I think Michigan's the best team in the country, and I think Iowa State is right there. I think BYU is going to be right there as well when it's all said and done. But all right, let me play Mario Cristobal, and he addressed the fact. This is from Joe Zagacki at the press conferences yesterday on building a coaching staff for the Miami Hurricanes because, Golden was asked as well, what's he going to do? What coach is going to be on, blah, blah, blah. He went on and on about, because Lane Kiffin's allowing Pete Golden to keep, Charlie Weiss Jr. and the running backs coach and all that stuff for this game tonight. How gracious of him. Here's Mario Cristobal yesterday on building a coaching staff.
I firmly believe that those times, that era cannot be duplicated, right? It just was a different college football landscape. But it was awesome, and I was a nobody on an unbelievable team with insanely good Hall of Fame teammates. But the experience itself was an absolute game changer for myself and my mentality. It shaped my DNA. Everything that I believe in, my entire belief system was shaped and molded by what I learned during that time. And so it's been a 20 plus year journey to return and not take Miami back, but move Miami forward. But we've progressed a bunch and we still have a ways to go. We've earned our way here and we still have to earn, every single play that the opportunity that we have tomorrow night. So I don't know how to answer that question. Not yet. I don't think those things are really assessed, analyzed, and commented on until the season's over.
All right, there's head coach Mario Cristobal right there on building a coaching staff. And again, all nice story that you can't, the Ole Miss story is really something. It's my dog Luna. It's barking outside because we have the AC has been off basically for the last couple of weeks, on a little bit here and there, but basically down here in Southwest Florida, it has been wonderful weather. It's been a little chilly in the morning for down here anyway. High 40s, low 50s. Today it was like 60. And I know some of you, because I know up north yesterday, or the last couple of days, they've had, in the Northeast and the Midwest, it's had unbelievable, a lot of ice storms too, a lot of ice and snow and sleet and all that stuff. But we digress. Down here in Fort Myers, it's outstanding. It's right now it's about 58 degrees with a high today of about 79. And we did get 1/10 inch of rain 2 days ago. It was refreshing. Anyway, back here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. By the way, real quick, before we get back into more college football, I'm going to play a lot of NFL sound. I'm not going to take any break today. I'll be on till about 8 o'clock. I'm going to go through all the NFL action, give you all the sound I have, but I have some more college football sound. We haven't talked a lot about Indiana and Oregon. That's coming up on Friday. That's going to be a hell of a game as well. The Peach Bowl played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And any more firings happen in the NFL, we'll let you know. Got interesting reaction from Jim Harbaugh on John Harbaugh. And I don't know why. That's another thing. I don't know why. I'll get to it. I don't know why people were surprised. I've been saying it. And if Tomlin loses, and I think they're going to lose their playoff game, there could be a parting of the ways as well. What do you want to call it? Whatever it is. Sometimes it's just time. And look, John Harbaugh has already been contacted by 6 or 7 other teams already. Some of them still have coaches. I think Pete Thamel had that. He'll be fine. Mike Tomlin will be fine, whatever. Wouldn't it be something if John Harbaugh ended up coaching the Steelers? Think about that. I know. I just blew your mind. What about Mike Tomlin coaching Baltimore? Can you imagine the flippity-flop there? Now, I think it's interesting what's going to happen with the Raiders, and now Tom Brady's going to get involved in that Pete Carroll debacle, which we all knew. I still can't believe the Patriots lost to them in week 1. We'll get to the Patriots and Chargers coming up as well. Oh, another little pet. I got all these pet peeves. I'm sorry, my mind's going in a million different directions because I haven't been with y'all since the 20th of December. Here we are, 2026. I had people put stuff on my Facebook page. It sucks. Patriots playing at 8 o'clock on Sunday. What? First of all, if you are my age or even or in the look, only the spoiled brats that are teenagers now, maybe, Generation Zers may see it that way. If you're a Patriots fan, you're used to playing night games at 8. I knew once we weren't going to play Buffalo, when I knew it was going to be the Chargers. I said it the week before to my buddies. I said, look, if it's the LA Chargers, we're either playing Saturday night at 8 or Sunday night at 8. They are not going to put the Patriots-Chargers game on at 1 o'clock or on a Saturday. Certainly not 9 o'clock for the number 2 market in the country, even though the Chargers and the Rams have shitty fan bases, and usually the away team outdraws the home team. That doesn't matter. It's still the number 2 market. You got to take that into consideration. I guess on a Sunday, they could have put it possibly at 4:25 on Sunday. To me, it was a no-brainer. They were absolutely going to play Saturday night or Sunday night, just the way it is. I don't. And then Patriot. Some of you out there are like, "Oh, this sucks. They're playing Sunday." Well, I'm sorry if you have to work Monday morning, but they've been playing on Sunday nights and Saturday nights for a long time in the postseason, for the most part. So, God Almighty, just be thankful you're there. People are bitching and moaning about some Patriot fans about playoff times. What are you, nuts? I don't care if they played at 3 o'clock in the morning. Anywho, the other thing was, a few other things, before we get back into college football. I got to get a couple things off my chest, otherwise I'm going to forget. Fort Myers right now, those of you who live down here in Southwest Florida, I know we have a lot of listeners that listen to the program that are from here. So you know the diamond pattern that they did on Colonial in Fort Myers, and people were upset about it, blah, 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 traffic. I find that it's been okay. I don't go that part of Fort Myers all that. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I actually have lately. The traffic is fine. Even in season, I think it's done its purpose. But I will tell all of you this, so get ready, some of you snowbirds or you late snowbirds or you spring training people that want to come down to Southwest Florida to watch the Twins and the Red Sox. Get ready for possible massive delays. They are doing the same thing, this diamond program in Fort Myers at Daniels, which you have to get off at Daniels to get to JetBlue. They're doing that diamond construction, and roads are going to be shut down at times. Now, my understanding on the news this morning is that for spring training games, and I'm just going by, it just more affects Red Sox and JetBlue than it does at Hammond, where the Twins play, which is only, 5 miles away. But this really affects Red Sox fans coming down here because my understanding is the roads will be open 3 hours before, I think they said during, and certainly after. So there'll be no road closures. So they say during that time. Now, most of the Red Sox games are at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, with the exception of, I think they play Puerto Rico in a a World Baseball Classic exhibition game at 6 o'clock in March. Other than that, their games at JetBlue are all at 1 o'clock. So 3 hours before, which would be 10 a.m., until 1 p.m., the roads won't be closed. And then I believe they said during, so figure from 1 to 3:30 or something like that. And then afterwards, they'll be open 3 hours, so you should have easy access out. Tim says, good to see you on, Pete. Thanks, Timmy. Timmy! Little South Park reference there. And then if you don't know the area, I mean, if you're down here and say, and the Red Sox are not playing, you can expect some massive delays on Daniels at certain times of day. So I'm just telling you, I'm pre-warning you. A ride that would normally take you 15, 20 minutes may take 45 minutes if you come at the wrong time. And it's not supposed to be, this project will not be completed for a couple of years. I'm going on now, my 10th year down here. And it's like everywhere else. Although in Connecticut on 84, I think they're still doing stuff. I feel like Interstate 84 going through Connecticut. They've been doing that since I first started to drive in 1983. Nothing has changed here. At least projects down here in Southwest Florida get done. They take a couple years, but they get done. But just so you know, expect massive delays. The other thing, non-sports stuff, is I have to get this off my chest. Stranger Things, fantastic. Fantastic season 5, 2 hour and 7 minute finale. I know there are a couple of scenes in there that got people, their panties in a bunch because of this, that, and the other thing. And I understand that. But that aside, I thought it was good. That was very good. The acting was absolutely terrific. It's funny, down here in Southwest Florida, what's her name? Marion Ellen, whatever, whoever played 11, she actually was in Naples, Florida the other night, or it was a week ago last night, right? Wednesday was the finale, 2 hour and 7 minute finale. And she was like in the second row at a Regal Cinema in Naples. Nobody knew she was there until the very end when she got up and addressed the crowd. It was pretty cool to see. I saw it on the. I didn't go to the theater to watch it. I watched it on Netflix at home. So I liked how it ended. I liked the Dungeons and Dragons scene when they all get together and they were kind of reminiscing, was going back and forth again. The whole premise of Stranger Things, I know they were incorporating a whole bunch of Stephen King and Steven Spielberg stuff, but basically it was sort of like It 2.0, just a sort of a different version. You know, if you've seen It or read the book or have seen It, not the John Ritter bad 3-part miniseries way back in the early 90s. But if you saw the 2 movies that came out recently, last 5-6 years, were very, very well done. Very much like the book, where the book always went, past, present, blah, 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 and then right, and then it all merged. So that's what to me, Stranger Things was just like It, basically, just a little modified version. Good stuff. And of course, everybody is wondering, and I'm sorry if this is a spoiler alert. Sorry, my show. It's been a week. That's the one New Year's resolution I have. The only one I care. I'm not going to say I'm not going to swear as much. I'm not going to say, my weight's been fine. At my lowest weight in quite some time. Health-wise, all good. Which I wish everybody healthy more than anything. Healthy and happy New Year to everybody. But I will say, spoiler alerts, I give it a week. If you haven't seen it in a week, sorry. I don't know, turn the volume down. The big spoiler, does 11 actually live? Because they do this narrative where they put it makes you think in consideration, did this happen? Did that, a couple other people that had the powers that she had, and did they make an illusion happen? Did she really die? Did she not? Did she end up in a distant country where she could finally live her life in peace and not be followed or have to do anything or worry about her powers, all that. So there's that. And then we go to Wicked. Then I get back into college football in a second and the NFL, I promise. So I'm going to run down everything. I'm not big into musicals in the theater and everything else. I never saw Chicago or a few other ones, and Hugh Jackman. I forget whatever that was. In Wicked, this is the problem I have. Like I could cut the music out. And Ariana Grande's great, and what's her name, Bella, who plays the Wicked Witch of the West. They have beautiful voices. I take nothing away from them. They're extremely talented. But when Jeff Goldblum starts to sing, Dr. Ian Malcolm, who plays the wizard now in Wicked, or whatever this was, Wicked Part 2, whatever the hell they called it. It makes me want to vomit. It's just too much. Now the storyline, I was wondering how they're going to incorporate, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, all that stuff, the Cowardly Lion, everything, and they did to a degree. They kind of cut out all the minutia, how Dorothy got. All that stuff. So spoiler alert again, yada, yada, yada. Now, from the beginning of Wicked, the first one it starts off with a radio broadcast how the Wicked Witch was killed by water. And you can sometimes get to really listen for it in the background. It mentions Dorothy, the girl. It mentions the girl from Kansas, blah, blah, blah. So obviously, you knew what was going to happen at the end of the second one eventually, despite everything. And I won't ruin the other stuff. But you assume, right, that the Wicked Witch of the West dies at the end of Wicked, don't you? Or did she? Ooh. Because they, like Stranger Things, give you a little montage at the end of what looks like it happened. Did she die? Did she not die? She goes down some stupid, silly platform at the end and escapes on her broom somehow to a land far, far away from Oz where she can live her life in peace. So I thought the connection with that, because I saw them both within 2 days. About 11 and the Wicked Witch of the West both apparently are alive, which blows my mind after watching The Wizard of Oz for many, 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 many years. The first one, the original one, and all this. Now I'm being led to believe that there was some underground escape hatch for the Wicked Witch of the West. That it really wasn't her, that Glinda helped her escape. And at the very end, she's singing and flying away and blah, blah, blah. And, Glinda's in the bubble and she flies away in the bubble and all that stuff. Anyway, had to get that off my chest. Sorry if it's a spoiler alert. But Stranger Things at the end, Wicked Part 2 at the end, very, very similar. Get you thinking, is 11 alive? Maybe 11's with the Wicked Witch of the West. Could be. Why not? They're in Montana somewhere. All right. We've done enough. I've given you my thoughts on Miami and Ole Miss. I think Miami's winning the game 30-17. I really do. I think what annoys me the most this week, for the last couple of weeks, you heard about Miami couldn't, get out of their own way. And, they dominated defensively, A&M. They dominated Ohio State. Okay? In the trenches. Carson Beck did what he had to do. Carson Beck is going to have a hell of a game tonight. You watch C.J. Daniels, you watch Malachi Toney, you watch Marion, what happens. With those three, Bauman the tight end, Mississippi cannot, and I'll tell you why they're going to have all four of those guys are going to have big games because the running game is going to be dominant. Mississippi cannot stop Fletcher, Pringle, and Brown. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Then they get dominated on both sides of the ball. And, Marcel Reed, they contained him. They sacked him 7 times. They smacked, Smiley over there at Ohio State 5 times as well. This quarterback, I think, is Chambliss is a really good quarterback. He's Marcel Reed. He's a better passer, but can he escape Miami in the trenches? That remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. If you had to tell me one quarterback that's going to have 300 yards passing tonight, Beck or Chambliss, I'm taking Beck every day of the week and twice on Thursday night. He's going to get it done. The 65th ranked rush defense, which is Ole Miss, they're going to get blown out of the water tonight. They're going to get blown out of the water. And here to share those thoughts, before we get into Indiana and Oregon, a couple of thoughts. Got Trent Green on Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman-winning quarterback out of Indiana, and Trent Green also on the Hoosiers' current run. And then I'm going to have the NFL. But I must get to my man Josh Prey, the local comedian down here from Immokalee and Naples. And he had a very exciting take. Now, he's a huge Gator fan, and but he does respect Miami. He does respect Miami and his take on the Hurricanes and about what is about to transpire. Well, as only Josh Prey can do, here is Josh Prey on the matchup.
To me, I know the media wants y'all to think this is going to be a good game for Rays and stuff. Miami is finna dog walk Ole Miss. Miami is about to dog walk Ole Miss, okay? These Miami football players are totally different. They damn D-line is like 1998, no limit. And the D-tackle is mystical. Hi, I'm that. He just causing all kind of destruction and shit. I understand. Y'all like Cinderella stories. Ole Miss playing without their head coach. Y'all want to hear that fire and desire. Miami is finna 100 Ole Miss. I'm telling you, this shit ain't gonna... And the thing is, too, Ole Miss. I understand y'all got fans that support y'all team and talk a little shit online. Miami fans, go to your house, show up in your neighborhood, be in your parking lot. There's a Miami fan in the Ole Miss fan base right now that y'all don't even know about. There's a Cuban right now in Oxford, Mississippi. There's a Haitian up there right now eating decoy leg sauce and legume and griot right now in Oxford, Mississippi. We ain't supposed to be in Oxford, Mississippi. But he right there, and he's saying, Saga said PT, you in me. People don't even speak no damn English. It's a Cuban in Cuba. Don't got internet right now, but he's throwing up the damn U. This is different. I've been saying this all year, and nobody wanted to believe me. Not one human. They beat our ass. You think I like this? Hell no. But the writings are on the wall. Miami is writing in cursive hieroglyphics. Miami speaking silent language to y'all ass. They are about to beat Ole Miss by 17 to 20-some points. They gonna beat the shit. Ole Miss. Y'all think them people buying tickets to Arizona to go out there and lose? Y'all think Miami Hurricane fans finna set them damn stadiums on fire to go out there and lose? Listen, if you from Arizona and you ain't never seen dreads and gold teeth, you ain't never seen Cubans with a little Havana tattooed on their neck, Puerto Ricans with a Puerto Rican flag tatted right there between their eyebrow, you are about to see it very, very soon. Ole Miss fan, y'all gonna be true. God damn, who are those people right there? What the hell does Carolina say that mean? Sarah, what does Carolina say that mean? That gentleman right there, he's blacker than me, but he a Cuban. Listen, Miami's finna dog walk Ole Miss, beat the brakes off Ole Miss. My name is Josh Prey. Miami ain't nothing but a whole bunch of Chucky dolls who don't fuck around and caught Andy Soul. That's all it is. Whenever you speak of Miami, just go, Shimbela. Give me the championship, I beg of you. They ain't even begging. Oh! Ole Miss gonna lose by about 100. Y'all will be back.
No, I think Ole Miss might by 100. I think they lose by 13. Thanks to Josh Prey for that. All right. Great stuff. Like I said, we'll keep the show going. I'm going to get to the Indiana-Oregon game, and I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup. I think it's a 3-point game either way. I'm actually going to pick Oregon by 3. I think both teams are better than when they played the first time. I think people are going to overreact to Alabama getting slaughtered by Indiana. I think Dan Lanning and Kurt Cinetti, and by the way, let's please, because we heard this with Lane Kiffin about going to the Giants with Jackson Dart, and now you're hearing about if the Raiders take Mendoza, is Tom Brady going to come after Kurt Cinetti? I'm sure he's going to get a phone call. I'm sure Kurt Cinetti's going to get a lot of phone calls. But he's one guy I do take at his word. He just signed that big 8-year extension for Indiana. I don't think he's going anywhere. And I don't think he's going to the Raiders, who they need a lot more than just a quarterback. And Tom Brady's going to be more heavily involved, even though he's only a 10% owner or whatever, the minority owner. But he's going to have a big say. I'm sure, knowing Brady a little bit, how he is, he's got to be livid the way the season ended for the Raiders. And Pete Carroll was not going to survive. But as far as Cinetti leaving Indiana and going with Mendoza, if he does get drafted by the Raiders, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think he's sticking with the Hoosiers. Here is Trent Green. Speaking of Fernando Mendoza, here is Trent Green from Sirius XM College Sports Radio on him.
You know, early in the season, it wasn't real smooth. The first few games, it didn't go real smooth. It was like, okay, what do we have here? You know, we've heard about him, at least from my standpoint. I didn't know a lot about him at Cal. But then the first couple games, I was like, okay, he has something, but I don't know if it's there. And then it was that Illinois game that really got him to take off, got the offense to take off, got everybody to buy in. And then, of course the Oregon win, and then, the Penn State. I mean, all these big wins have come from that. But I think it's been a work in progress, and it's been great to see his work ethic and how his game has evolved and how his leadership has evolved. And he's just phenomenal. I know he's got a little bit of quirkiness, and I know people like making fun of it. But the guys on the team love him, and he's a hell of a player. And we're glad to have him at IU. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's great. I like Mendoza a lot. I like Kurt Zanetti. Of course, I like because he's Italian, but and he's a little bad, a little stubborn. And but I like his style, and I like his loyalty for now. Anyway, for now, I say that now. Like I said, there is basically no loyalty, but it seems like anyway he is staying. He's going to get calls from everybody to go join some NFL team, but I do believe he's staying. But I think Oregon is going to put up one hell of a fight. I don't think they're going to shoot themselves in the foot like they did last time. That game was tied at 20. Then it just sort of fell apart in that game. Dante Moore I think he's matured since that game a lot, and I don't see him self-destructing. Look, Indiana's got, on paper, looks like a phenomenal defense as well. But besides the Oregon game, and I know they beat Alabama handily. And I don't think Alabama should have got in. I thought Notre Dame should have got in over Alabama. I've said that a bunch of times. But it is what it is. They got slaughtered. They got slaughtered. And the SEC is 2-7 in bowl games this year. Stay with that. Take from that what you will. People wanted to shit all over the ACC last year when they went 2-11. This year the ACC is 8-4 in bowl games, and Miami is right there in the Final Four. But I don't think Dante Moore is going to shoot himself in the foot again. I'm picking Oregon by 3. I'm picking Oregon by 3, and it may even go overtime. It's going to be a great game. Should be a great game on Friday night. Like I said, part of me wants Indiana to win because me and my buddy Craig Sheeman will go at it. I wish he could come on the show today, which he probably could, but powers that be, not far from here, probably frown upon it, even though I don't really care. I'm not bringing up the past except for our relationship on the air, which I thought we had really good chemistry. It would have been great to have. Would have been great to be on with Craig this week. We would have had a lot of fun. But not going to happen. This is my only show for the week. So, and after this, I go into full meditation mode, at least for 5 minutes, because I can't sit still. I might have to go for a ride or something. The 7:30 can't get here fast enough. I'll have to start watching because there's only so much I can take now. We've heard all the analysis. We've heard all of that. I've tried to present to you analysis for the Miami Ole Miss game that you did not hear all week long. All you heard was the great story, Ole Miss and Pete Golding and what he's done. And both teams have tremendous chips on their shoulders. I'm kind of mad that Miami's favored by 3.5, but that's right. I'd lay the 3.5. Yeah, the number 10 over the number 6. Why is number 10 see? Why Miami, the last team in the playoff? Why are they favored? Because they're better. And that ridiculous 9.5 to 10-point spread against Ohio State. Was that the easiest money ever? I mean, that was absolute. And people, get all upset. And I said this on my Facebook Live. Vegas doesn't care who wins or loses. They care how they can balance the books. And when you see 9.5, Vegas is trying to tell you something. Vegas is trying to tell you something that Ohio State's going to blow them out. No, they're trying to balance the books. Rick says, is there any type of schedule for the show? No, there's not. There will be no. I will try to give you a day to 48 hours heads up. It's probably only going to be once a week, if that. Sometimes it may not even be that. It all depends on what I'm doing outside. I'll try to be on once a week. I don't know when. It'll probably be towards the end of the week or after either a Monday or a Tuesday after. But again, I can't. I've committed to this other job that I have, and they get top priority. So my hours and the days for now change. And whatever it is. I knew today I would have some time. So, and what better time to be on with all of you and to tell you stuff that you're not hearing across the national media about, particularly this Miami Ole Miss game. All you're hearing about is Ole Miss and not the sob story, Pete Golding and everything else, and Trinidad Jim. I didn't hear one take this week besides Carson Beck's record about any other offensive players on Miami. It's like they don't even exist. And Fletcher and Pringle and Brown, they're gonna have over 150 yards combined rushing. I'm gonna say 3 touchdowns. Beck is gonna throw for 1 or 2 more. And I don't see how Ole Miss. You want to stop the run? you stop the run. You want to concentrate on stopping the run? Fine. I got C.J. Daniels. I got Marion. I got Malachi Toney. I got Bauman at tight end. I got a lot of other ways to beat you. Mississippi doesn't. They got Lacey at running back, who's outstanding. And they had Trinidad Chambliss, the Division II Ferris State championship quarterback. By the way, the backup left to go to Missouri, I believe, the other day. And look, I just think Miami powerful Jedis they are, powerful Miami. They win 30-17. There you have it. Enough said. All right, I'm taking Oregon by 3. I'm going to say 24-21 Oregon. Overtime. How about that? Overtime. 24-21. But either way, I win. If it's Indiana, and hopefully Miami wins, and Miami-Indiana will be a lot of fun for me going back and forth with some of my Indiana friends. And then if not, then it's the big storyline. Mario Cristobal returning to coach his former team in the Oregon Ducks, except this will be at home at Hard Rock Stadium. I also heard a narrative this week. Now, I know Miami fans travel well. They did a great job, I thought. What tickets were available at College Station when they played A&M was phenomenal. I thought there was a great crowd last week against Ohio State. Now, all of a sudden I'm hearing like Mississippi's got all this money and all these fans are going to be traveling to Glendale. I don't know. I know Miami fans are traveling. That was a lot. I actually looked into going. I really did. But I didn't feel like driving to Fort Lauderdale and Miami because there were no direct flights out of here, RSW, to Fort Myers, without usually 2 stops, most of them 3 stops. And I'm not doing that. And I know I looked into the prices were ridiculous. I was going to maybe go with a buddy and sit in the stands and all that. It's not worth it. Like I said, I don't like going to games anymore. For the most part, I like watching at home with friends or even just by myself or at Peanut Gallery, like I will tonight. You know, it would just be me. I can't be in a bar. I certainly wasn't going to go out last week with all the obnoxious Ohio State fans. I mean, it's just off, unless you're going to Miami watch party. But I think down here in Southwest Florida, I think Hooters, Twin Peaks was the only one that had one in Naples. But I know the Twin Peaks here at Gulf Coast in Fort Myers, I thought they were closing at like 8 o'clock or 11 o'clock anyway to give staff time to go home from you. So it was a weird situation last week. I don't know what bars, I know some bars stayed open, but till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But as far as watch parties went last week, I don't know what was available to people, what wasn't. But anyway, I want to wish Joe Zagacki and the whole crew for the Miami Hurricanes radio broadcast crew all the best. They've done some great stuff. All right, let's move on, shall we? Here, let's move on to the NFL. So to recap real quick, once again, I gave you Miami 30-17, and I am picking Oregon 24-21. Should be one hell of a game. All right, let's start in the NFL. Let's start with some comments yesterday. Shall we begin with Jerry Jones? Why not? Still delusional after all these years. I thought Jerry Jones would have a better perspective coming off the Dallas Cowboys once again not making the playoffs. But I'll just let you hear from Mr. Jones. Here he is from the Cowboys webpage, asked if he's going to let head coach Brian Schottenheimer hire the next defensive coordinator because Matt, I suck, Eberflus was let go the other day.
Jerry, you've intimated, outright said that you were the one who hired Matt Eberflus. Moving forward to the next coordinator, will Schottenheimer get to hire his own coordinator?
Trump just said it. I'm running. Venezuela.
What?
Seriously. Shotty had everything to do with hiring Matt Eberflus last time, and that's not done as a negative. It had no way in the world he's here if Shotty didn't want him here. Okay, let me be real clear about that. And he can tell you in his own words there, no way in the world if Stephen didn't want him here. But I particularly had a party when we got him to have him come in. And I was excited about having the uniqueness of his staff.
what the fuck is he talking about? Micah, who will not be playing this week, unfortunately, for the Green Bay Packers, who's out with that injury. If you think that was delusional, he had a party. Jerry Jones had a party for Matt Eberflus. What kind of party is that? Sounds like a hoot. Let me tell you. Here's Jerry Jones. Listen to this delusional thought.
My goal in life is to retire as the owner that won the most Super Bowls. That's my goal. To be retired in the NFL as the owner that won the most Super Bowls. We've got 3. How many more do I have to go as a single owner? Bob's got how many? 6? So I've got
work to do.
Got work to do. I got work to do, but at least I'm up to the second rung in the ladder. But my goal is to have retired and won the most Super Bowl as an owner.
Jerry, I'll follow up. Would you ever actually retire?
Well, I'm gonna. I will go down. No, I'm not going to say that. If, I'm not going to say
he's a 10-toe high guy.
I'm not going to say that at all. But listen, I don't want to dare the gods. Okay.
If you're a Cowboy fan, you got to be livid. This buffoon sitting here, great marketing guy, whatever. I mean, this stuff that it's just ridiculous. It's just stupid. Just unbelievable. He believes it. Hey, Jerry, newsflash for you, buddy. How about you're the only team in the NFC to not make it to the NFC Championship game since 1995? How about that? Forget the Super Bowls. How about winning playoffs? Just win a game. You got to be kidding me. All right, I'm going to run down all the sound we have, then we'll call it a day. I'll give you my thoughts on all of these games. Todd Bowles coming back, though, is interesting for Tampa Bay before we get into the wild card weekend games. I thought if he did not beat Carolina the last game, he was definitely going to get fired. I don't understand. I really don't, and I'm very disappointed in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of how they finished down the stretch because you cut them a little bit of latitude at points during the season because of the injuries and everything else. And there's a couple times it really piled up on them. And Baker Mayfield played his guts out as best he could. But the last 3 or 4 weeks, basically everybody was healthy. They had Evans back. They had Godwin back. They had Worth back. They had everybody back. Otton was back. And I was really, really disappointed. They played actually better when they were banged up. Very, very disappointing. Even though they played their guts out in the last game and won it. I get it. They needed New Orleans to pull out a win against Atlanta. It didn't happen. But Bowles is coming back. I don't know how people feel. I have mixed emotions about it, but he is coming back to be the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year. I just don't. I don't know what tweaking they have to do. If it's an attitude adjustment, whatever it is, I was disappointed real bad how they finished the season last 4 weeks. They're better than that, and they would just fall apart. But anyway, let's get to this weekend. So the Rams at Carolina. So the Carolina Panthers get in at 8-9. Now I caution everybody, that they have no chance and everything. Somebody texted me or tweeted at me for the Patriots game. The Chargers have this one in the bag. Prove me wrong. First of all, to say something like that, there isn't any game out there this weekend that anybody has it in the bag. Okay, if you have that mentality going in, it's ridiculous. There are no sure things in the NFL postseason. Okay, and you say you got something in the bag. You don't know. I think the Patriots have a great matchup with the Chargers, and I think the Patriots are going to win. But I also have caution, be careful what you wish for. Regardless, we'll get to the Patriots at the last game. But to say that any team has it in the bag, you're fooling yourself. There's no team that has it in the bag, and certainly the Chargers don't have it in the bag over the Patriots, not by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, but I caution you about the Carolina Panthers. Why? Because remember the Seahawks won the division. They were under 500 not too long ago. Guess what they did? They won a playoff game. So here are the Rams at Carolina. The Rams have been a very good team on the whole, for the most part. Let's get to the cuts I have. Here's Puka Nacua, great wide receiver, on the Rams' opportunity in the playoffs.
I think it's something that Coach preaches all the time, but the totally and completely present. I feel like there was a moment of excitement to finish off the regular season, right? But also the moment of realization that this is an opportunity that in front of us that we feel like we have the pen in our hand. We have the opportunity to write our own story. And it started Sunday after that game when we had our final break and we congratulated Coach on his 100th win and said, hey, we're going to look for more.
All right, that's Puka Nacua on the Rams NFL on X right there. Here's J.C. Horn because Cam Newton is coming back for the Carolina Panthers. He's going to be at the game and bang a drum or something like that.
I think it'd be electric. That'd be something everybody would want to see for sure. I think he means a lot to this organization and a lot to this city. So, it'll be lit.
All right, that was J.C. Horn on Cam Newton being there. I'm picking the Rams on that one. But I would caution everybody to think, I think a lot of people think because the Rams, record-wise, are a much better team, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. I think this is going to be a closer game than people think. I think the Rams by a touchdown. Like the Rams by a touchdown in that one. Let me see real quick here. Where do I have it? Here we go. The Rams are a 10.5-point favorite on the road in a playoff game. The total is 46.5. I would probably take the Panthers plus the 10.5. I would. I'd probably take over in that game as well. All right, next up, but that's a lot of points for postseason. If the Rams won by 14, would it shock me? No, not at all. But I think in the postseason, there's still something about the Rams. And that was my Super Bowl pick. I picked Baltimore and the Rams. I got half right. The other one got my coach fired. As far as John Harbaugh goes. Oh, before I do, I forgot to do, I don't need to. It was Jim Harbaugh glowing about his brother. If I have time, I'll get to it. All right, let's go to Green Bay and Chicago. This game is coming up. Well, the first game on Saturday is at 4:30 on Fox. This one is on Amazon only. Packers at the Bears for the third time this year. Bears are 1.5-point dogs at home. The total is 45.5. Here is Bears. Declan Doyle hopes the Bears can get Roma Azuma back in the offense for Saturday's playoff game. This is on the Marquee Network.
You don't want to be giving him way too much, and yet he's a guy that can help us. And so we'll be evaluating that over the next 3 days of practice as we get to kind of finalize this plan and put that stuff together. Anytime that he can be a part of it, certainly want to be able to use him and maximize the time that he's out on the field and get him the ball. But really, it's the same with all of our players. We always have plays for each guy specifically, and we're excited to have him back.
All right, here's Green Bay's Matt LaFleur on Bears quarterback Caleb Williams.
We've seen him grow and progress as the season's advanced, and he's made a lot of big-time plays. He did it, obviously, in our game, both games. Then you see it in San Francisco, and, you got to be very careful when you're playing a player of his caliber in regards to what he is able to do. There's been situations, you see it all over tape, where, there's no way this guy's going to get out of the pocket here. He gets out of the pocket. And then you hear that, you want to keep him in the pocket, and then he's making throws from in the pocket. So I just think he's progressed, and he's developed, and he's playing at a high level right now.
All right, I need to see the injury report, which we're a couple days away from that, obviously, but I'm going with the Bears in this one. Team split during the regular season. I'm going to go with the Bears. If they're reasonably healthy, I think they're going to win at home. I do like the progression of Caleb Williams. Johnson's done a good job over there since coming over from the Lions. So I'm going to pick the Bears. Close game, but a 1.5-point dog at home in the playoffs right now. And I think if the injury report were out today and everybody was reasonably healthy for the Bears probably be favored by 2 or 3. But for now, I take them at plus 1.5. Moving on to Sunday at 1 o'clock. This will be on CBS. The Bills are at the Jaguars. I think it's going to be the highest scoring game of the weekend. The total is 52. The Jaguars are favored by 1. I am leaning towards the Jaguars in this one, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But let's get to some of the sound. Here's Josh Allen. Said Joe Brady had himself scout over the past couple of weeks, and there's an emphasis going into the playoffs on taking the easy ones. Here's NBC2 WGRZ. Oh, may not have that cut. Let me see. Nope. For some reason, that's not there. All right, here's Buffalo's Spencer Brown and James Cook winning the NFL rushing title.
That was awesome. I texted my group chat after the first half, and I'm like, I really don't love that Derrick Henry has 111 rushing yards already, but shout out to the Steelers defense that slowed him down in the second half. But yeah, super happy for Jimmy. Everybody knows he's a quiet guy, goes about his business, and then he runs with his hair on fire. So, pride in our line room for making that happen, but he makes us all look good at the end of the day. So it's awesome. Thanks
to Dan Fettis podcast there. Here's Jacksonville head coach Liam Cohen from South Kingstown, Rhode Island, and LaSalle Academy on his goals as a first-year head coach.
I think you try not to put too many expectations on it when you take the job. Like, I didn't sit here saying, I hope we win 8 or I hope we win 10 or, I didn't put many of those, I guess, labels on the job. When you get it, you're really just hoping to improve and to help players improve. You're hoping to obviously continue to elevate the standard and raise the bar. To say I assumed we would win 13 games when I took the job, like, I can't say that. But I think that I guess you could say we've I'm not going to say overachieved, but I think you can say that we've probably gotten a lot better in some ways. And so that you say, yeah, you've helped. You've done what you wanted to do, which was get better, which was improve, which was help individual players reach their potentials, right? Like, those are the goals that you have. And so I guess you could say we've reached some of those goals for sure.
All right, Liam Cohen. His only fault is he should have went to Hendricken and not LaSalle, but that's another story for another time. But great guy. And I didn't know what he was going to be as a head coach. Certainly Trevor Lawrence. And there are people out there that think he and Trevor Lawrence don't get along all that great, but I don't know. Trevor Lawrence has played spectacularly the last few weeks, the regular season anyway. Here's Trevor on all the outside noise throughout his career.
The past, I guess 2 months, the praise that's come after it, after so much outside doubt, do you feel vindicated at all?
Not really. I mean, I just think I've said it a bunch. I mean, it just gives you perspective. I've always had confidence in who I am, and I just try to go to work every day and get better. And, I know in my career haven't always played my best every single Sunday, and that's part of growing and learning and evolving. And there's some growing pains, and there's some things that you got to go through. And, I just think I have a better perspective through all of it. And at the end of the day, I just want to keep getting better. And that's, people can say what they want now, all the good stuff, and I don't really care about any of that either. I just want to keep getting better and keep finding ways to win.
All righty. So that game, again, is Buffalo at Jacksonville, 1 o'clock on CBS on Sunday. I'm going to go with the Jaguars, 33-30. High-scoring game. Buffalo Bills fans. Window. Had your chance. I think it'll be a hell of a game, though. I think it'll be a hell of a game. All right, moving on. San Fran at Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni, Angels' favorite, 5-0 at home in the postseason since he's taken over the Eagles. They are home against San Francisco. That is a 4:30 game, and that game is on Fox at 4:30 on Sunday. And here is Jalen Hurts' cold-blooded response on why he's had big playoff games and Eagles quarterback eyeing another Super Bowl. This from Jeff Skrivsky on X.
Some things are in you. Every year is different, but it's always the same goal. And, if you don't have that mentality, then, you're not in the right place ultimately. And so I know that's something that he's adamant on, and I feel very strongly about that as well. It's just coming in, treating every year as his own year, but also knowing exactly what we're playing for. And that's the collective of winning and putting ourselves in positions to play for championships.
All right, here's head coach Nick Sirianni of the Eagles saying they are hungry.
You're always judged in this league by your last game. You're always judged in this league by what you've done, here. And it's, I think when I studied a lot of great teams in the past and great coaches in the past, and what was the secret to sustained success, it always came back down to, there's a lot of things that coaches talk to me about, but it always came down to two things: staying in the moment, not looking too far ahead. Like, hey, how are we going to do this thing again? There's a lot of work that goes into, achieving the ultimate goal. And there's a lot of steps and there's a lot of process, and you got to go through those things. And then on the other end of the spectrum was like, hey, resting on your laurels. Well, we'll get back there because we done it. Nobody cares in this league, right? You have to put the work in every single day to help yourself continue to get better, to put yourself in position to win each week and win in the playoffs. So we just tried to stay where our feet were there. I know this, like, for these guys that I coach, I know for myself, it's like, you play a game of pickup basketball. You don't, and win the game. You don't take your shoes off and say, I'm content. I mean, we were here in this spot because you want to run it back and you want to play and compete again. That's part of the reason why you're here. I mean, that's any game. I don't like. If I'm playing sorry with my kids and I win, I want to play again and go again. So
sorry.
I don't let them win that often, but sometimes I do. But yeah, I think that's just the competitive nature of, and why, there's a reason that the people are in this building because they have that hunger. But yeah.
First of all, sorry is the shittiest board game ever made. I hated it. I didn't like playing it. My sister loved it because she used to yell, sorry, like obnoxious. Andrea, very obnoxious during that. Give me Monopoly. Give me Stratego. Stratego may be the most underrated board game ever. Don't give me sorry. You lose to your kids at sorry? How about a real game? Even Monopoly. Shit, I'd take Candyland. Sorry sucks. That's the worst game ever. How about Clue? How about that? Makes you think. I think Stratego was a great game. Underrated. How about Life? Remember the game of Life? Doo-doo. Anyway, that was the only thing. They didn't have the dice. They had the little spinner in the middle of the board. Anyway, sorry sucks. Horrible game. Getting back to the Eagles. And by the way, I like them. They are 4.5-point favorites. The total in the game is 44.5. I like the under. I like the Eagles 20-13 in that one. I like the Eagles by 7. I think they cover. Rick says, stay in the moment, even when losing. LOL. Smell the song, Wild Thing coming on. No, let's save that for Mike McDaniel, who somehow has survived. And Rick says he thinks the Eagles win by 3. Okay, where am I? Okay, let's go to Kyle Shanahan, head coach of the 49ers, right? And of course, when you talk about Philadelphia Eagles and you talk about playing at the Link or at the old Vet, you have to talk about the heartwarming double kiss Mediterranean, heartwarming Eagles fans.
I mean, always with every place you go, it always starts with crowd noise. I mean, anytime you can talk about the fans and all that stuff, which is, to me, that's more fun. I don't think that really affects the guys with helmets on who are out in between the whites. Might affect family members and things like that if they choose to go in the stands. But it's really irrelevant in the game. It has to do with how loud that crowd is, and they're going to be going. You got to give them a reason to be quiet, and if not, it's extremely challenging place to play. You're not going to be able to hear, and we got to expect that.
I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like. So I'm sure it's going to be fairly cold. Although I know in Foxborough, the high on Foxborough for Sunday is 50, but it won't be 50 at night. It'll be probably in the low 40s and then dipping as the night goes on. We'll get to that game in a second here. Here's more from Kyle Shanahan on Christian McCaffrey being worn down for the playoffs.
That Christian has had this year. You worry about him getting worn down at this point in the season, and what do you do to mitigate that?
I mean, that's why you hope to have a full week recovery. I think that's a huge deal. You know, I think it wasn't just the 3 games in 13 days. It was also all national night games, you know, East Coast game, mixing Christmas in there, not having a bye week till 2 weeks before that in December. So, like, that stuff does add up. But when you get to this time about being worn down, I mean, worn down usually leads to injuries. You don't have guys at this time. So I look at it as Christian's made it through that. And this is all we have guaranteed right now is Sunday. We have nothing guaranteed after that. So once you get to this part of the year, no one thinks about anything like that.
All right, lastly for Kyle Shanahan on the Eagles defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. This from Jeff's first feed.
I mean, Vic schematically, he's always been the best to me, as good as anyone there is. Has a very sound scheme that he doesn't need to change up very much. It just naturally changes with how he does his coverages, how he does his fronts, the personnel groupings he does. He's very good at getting a beat on what you're trying to do and making you adjust.
How close did you get to really hiring him to be your defensive coordinator a few years ago?
You'd have to ask him. I mean, I've tried all the times that it's been an opportunity. He's always been with someone else when that's happened. I mean, I tried real hard in 17 when we first came here, and I tried like 2 other times on separate occasions. So Vic's a guy that I've always respected, gone against a number of times before I became a head coach, so that's why I respected him so much, and through the process, been able to become friends with him.
All righty, that is San Fran to Philadelphia, 4:30. What is that? Okay, that was a sound clip. That was not me. It's like, whoa, that happened. All right, Chargers and the Patriots. Patriot thinks it's a really good matchup for them. I always say be careful what you wish for. It looked like it could have been Buffalo or the Chargers, one or the other. Personally, I'm kind of glad it's the Chargers, but I always say no matter what, it's going to be tough no matter who you play. Patriots are on the number 2 seed. They take on the Chargers, who I think are very beatable. I think it's a really, really good matchup on both sides of the ball for the Patriots. And here's Justin Herbert, Chargers quarterback, taking it 1 week at a time.
We just think about winning each game, doing our job each week and studying, practicing, preparing, and I think we're really thankful and grateful for the opportunity. A lot of teams aren't playing this week, so for us to be able to have a chance, it's all we can ask for.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to find some Patriots sound. Let me see. Thought I had some, but where is it? Give me a second here. Thought I had some lined up. All right, here we go. This is from a couple days ago. Here's Mike Vrabel.
How we doing? How you doing? Great. Hi.
I heard you on the radio this morning talk about the. Don't worry. Talk about the Chargers and how they're a team that's constructed and built for the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you feel the same way about your team and if you could define exactly what that means.
Yeah, I do now. I feel like we are now. I will just tell you that they play great defense. They're very sound. They're good tacklers. They're physical. They get off the field on 3rd down. They're good in the red zone. They run the football. It's a physical football team. They possess the football. They lead the NFL in time of possession. They have good, very good quarterback play. They're well coached. They play with technique and fundamentals. The game, they don't panic, one way or the other. They kind of stick to their game plan and wear you down and execute in critical situations. So a lot of respect for them, certainly what they've done in a short amount of time.
And your team also being built?
I think that we're trending in the right direction, and that we have our moments of all of those. And I can point to numerous instances of us doing it. So again, that's the only thing that's important is what we're able to do on Sunday night.
How pleased have you been just overall with your offensive line? Obviously, for most of the year, 2 rookies on the left side. A lot of different players came in this year. Just overall with that group this season.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be critical this week against a good front and a good defense. So that's what's going to matter. I think they've continued to improve and help to stay balanced. I mean, games.
All right, there's Mike Vrabel, and I'll try to. That's really all I have right now. Look, I think that's a great matchup for the Patriots, and people all they want to do is crap all over their schedule. It is what it is. They've got no control of it. All I know is I have seen there is no question since the Pittsburgh game a massive, massive progression. This team has gotten better and better and better. They don't make a lot of mistakes. the Ramondre Stevenson, and when I wanted him kicked off the team after the Pittsburgh game, he has been nothing short of sensational when he's been healthy. Henderson as well. The Patriots are more talented. They obviously have an MVP candidate in quarterback Drake May, who's been absolutely outstanding. He just makes absolute precise throws. Campbell's back. You saw the impact he had last week. Williams back on defense. You saw the impact he had. Patriots I like the Patriots 26-20. I like the Patriots 26-20. Duncan Dad says Jags are going to beat Buffalo. I agree. I picked the Jags in that one as well. I think it'll be the 33-30. I have the Jags winning that game 33-30. As long as we're talking about the Chargers, John Harbaugh, brother of Jim Harbaugh. By the way, Jim Harbaugh is the coach of the Chargers. But John Harbaugh got let go by the Baltimore Ravens. I don't understand why people thought this was surprising. I really don't. We know this was coming. It was coming. It's just time. Sometimes after 18 years, it's just time. Lamar Jackson probably had a say in it, but it was just time. With Mike Tomlin, I think he's going to lose this weekend. Did I even get to the Pittsburgh game? Did I even get to the Pittsburgh game? I don't remember playing. Oh no, I'm sorry. I forgot to preview that. Hang on. Houston at Pittsburgh. Let's see. Here's Aaron Rodgers. Excuse me. And then we'll get back. Aaron Rodgers this is Monday night at 8:15. Aaron Rodgers on his conversations with Pat Freemuth of the Steelers.
It, and they bring strong dog. They bring the mic and they bring 44 off the slot. And we talked from day one when I got here. I like throwing vertical peaks, first pressure. So start off by looking vertical. And we actually kind of made eye contact in the huddle and just said, be alert. And then sure enough, he widens slightly like he's supposed to. He catches the ball with his hands. He gets 14 yards, and that's the drive.
Catching the ball with his hands.
We talked on through routes. If you get two men, double up.
No, can't do it. Sorry. Mike Tomlin reacts to the Ravens firing John Harbaugh.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the news involving John Harbaugh, Coach. Obviously a guy that you took on multiple times, including this past Sunday night, and is almost as tenured as you are in your job as he was, past tense now in his. What's your opinion upon hearing that news?
First, I just have so much respect for Harbs. Our stories will forever be, interwoven. This rivalry that we've been fortunate and honored enough to be a part of. I just got so much respect for him and how he's gone about his business. And we've certainly had some legendary battles over the years. In terms of him being let go, unfortunately, I just think it's a component of today's sport culture. And so, there have been many examples of that. And so it's unfortunate, but I'm sure that he is going to move on. And if he chooses to coach again, I'm sure he will. And
there's no question. He absolutely will. Here's Mike Tomlin's scouting report for the Texans.
First on offense, I think the strength of the pack is the pack. I think they've displayed that in a lot of ways over the course of the journey. Certainly they went through an adjustment at the early stages of the season playing without Joe Mixon, but they've certainly found a nice division of labor in Woody Marks and Mr. Chubb. Those guys have done an awesome job in terms of dividing the labor up and running the ball for those guys. As I mentioned, their ball security is top tier. Neither one of those guys or no one in their backfield has put the ball on the ground this season. They got some quality young eligibles in Higgins and Noel from Iowa State. They've done a nice job of growing and evolving over the course of the season. There's certainly assets to their passing game and good supplements to Nico Collins. Collins is a big-time one-on-one playmaker. He's oftentimes on the backside of formations. You get in single high defensive structure. He's in one-on-ones with corners, and he wins a lot of them. He makes the big boy catches. He can run through traffic and run the in-breaking routes. He's good down the field on 50-50 balls. He certainly has our attention as we prepare.
All right, Mike Tomlin there. Sorry, Steelers. I think you're losing this one. I think the Texans win. I think the Steelers are going to have a hard time scoring. I think Aaron Rodgers is in for a long day. I do. I think he's in for a long day. And the Texans are playing at an elite defensive level, and I think they're going to feast on Aaron Rodgers, and they pick him off at least twice in that game. So Houston at Pittsburgh. I am picking the Houston Texans. They are 3-point favorites in that game. Total 39.5. I like the under, like the Texans by at least a touchdown. And it'll be a long day. And then we're going to see what happens with Mike Tomlin. And as I said, in case you missed it earlier, how about this as a scenario? If they lose, and even if they win, obviously it's not going to be this, but if they lose, Mike Tomlin very well, they could be parting of the ways, just like with John Harbaugh. Could be parting of the ways. What if in this crazy world that I have, whoop, that's not it. Where's my little... What if John Harbaugh ended up coaching the Steelers and Mike Tomlin ended up coaching the Ravens? Just a thought to consider. Stranger things have happened. That would be unbelievable if that happened. Unbelievable. But you know what? In this day and age, nothing would shock me. All right, speaking of Jim Harbaugh, who's coaching the Chargers, here is Jim on his brother John being canned by the Ravens.
John Harbaugh is the best coach I know, best coach I've ever seen. And you may say, okay, well, I'm his brother, so I might be biased. But then you have somebody like Tony Dungy. Wouldn't we all like that? Wouldn't we all like somebody like Tony Dungy, especially Tony Dungy himself, to say that? It's great, seeing that kind of outpouring and of support, and also just so cool to see all my brother's accomplishments, and be recognized for that. And
yeah, blah 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 blah. John Harbaugh have his pick of teams. I'm sure he's had, according to Pete Thamel, 7 teams have already contacted him already. There are teams that still have coaches that have already contacted him. So, I mean, if he'll have a job, the drop of a hat. There's no question about it. Bill Belichick, who I wasn't sure was going to make it through this season at North Carolina, he addressed some rumors if he's interested in becoming an NFL head coach again. This is from the Let's Go podcast.
You're the greatest coach in NFL history. Obviously, your name's going to come up. And whether or not you're interested or not interested, they're going to say you're interested so that this kid won't come to the University of North Carolina.
Oh, I've heard plenty of that. We've heard plenty of that, Jim.
Would you have an interest?
Yeah, nothing's changed. I'm where I was a month ago. I'm here in North Carolina. I really appreciate the love and support that we've gotten from the community down here, from the school. Chancellor Roberts, ADs, Bubba Cunningham, Steve Newmark, work with Mike Lombardi and our staff here. We're building a good program. I'm excited about the direction we're headed in.
Oh, my goodness. I am not excited about the program. I still think that his name is going to come up significantly. I think. A lot of people say, well, it didn't happen last time and this, that, and the other thing. I don't know. I still think that that his name is going to pop up. I'm not saying he's going to go back to the NFL. I just think his name will surface from time to time. Tim says, bizarre world of Tomlin and Harbaugh had reverse jobs. Yes, but I told you, I'm picking the Texans in that game, the other game as well. I think they went by a touchdown in a low-scoring game. Well, kids, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I got to tell you, that is going to do it. That is going to do it here for me. And I want to thank everybody for checking me out here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. I will be, I don't know when I'll be back. I'm going to try to do a show once a week, at least once a week, but I don't know because my schedule for my other gig is crazy hours. Not crazy hours, but I right now it's kind of like a week in advance. I know. So I knew I was going to have some time today. That's why I wanted to be on with you guys. And it's been fantastic. So thanks, everybody. In case you missed it, you can go back and listen to the podcast as well. Here on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Odyssey, Facebook pages, CSD in Florida, Rumble, Kick, SR1029 The Game. Thanks to Angel Martinez, who's off. And make sure you still check out all the great shows here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. That's going to do it for me. We end with some closing words of wisdom from Mario Cristobal. I began the show with this. I'll end it. Have a great and safe rest of your week, everybody. Go Canes!
I really want the Hurricane Nation, the U family, University of Miami, everyone that's ever touched it, been a part of it, went to school here, is a fan, the community, around the country. We got to bring this thing tight. Everybody. We got to bring it in tight, and we got to bring it. Because when the U is on and the U brings it, there's nothing like it. We got to get there.